Hi everyone and welcome to the third episode of the Vancouver Mulligan. And some of you might say, wait a second, that doesn't look like Vancouver at all. And you're correct, because right now I'm here in Germany visiting my friends and family over the years in this beautiful city, Kingsway, which is a place in the south of Berlin. In this episode, we're actually going back to Vancouver, to the 12 Kings pub. And some of you might already know this place from our first show. Let's get started. I see you there. Welcome back to the 12 Kings pub here in Vancouver. This time we take a closer look at the new founded Commander League that started this year in November for the first time. In this episode we asked some of the 8 players about the idea behind it, the tournament structure, the deck choices and the point system they are using.
Starting with a Commander 2016 pre-constructed deck. 4 of us are going with the 4-color generals, and 4 of us are going with, you're going to pick 2 of the partner generals that go in your deck. Each player is allowed to make 5 changes to the deck each week. So you're allowed to add 1 mythic, 1 rare, and 3 commons or uncommons. You can trade down and say put in 4 uncommons or commons and 1 mythic or 1 rare.
Elliot, Taylor, Camper, and I were driving back from the Kaladesh pre-release. We all know each other from either 12 Kings. It'd been floated before about doing a league. And originally we conceived it like you get a point, you got packs each week if you got the most points, and there was a prize at the end. But it became pretty apparent that people didn't care too much about the prize. It was more about just like the bragging rights for points.
Yes.
And then also getting to see changes as like the decks evolve is almost the novelty of it, I find. So we were driving back from the Kaladesh pre-release and we were talking about how cool it would be to do a league where we actually tracked things, kept track of games between weeks. Then we said, well, can we modify? And it really emerged from a back and forth. There's been a lot of conversation about what rules are applicable, what we should do or shouldn't do, how many changes are fair, can we change the entire deck, can we only do a couple, all sorts of that sort of stuff. But it started with that car ride back.
I think so, yeah.
And then us talking about doing a cool league and then saving it to see if someone wanted to do it as well. So there's only, 4 decks, 5 decks? There's 5 decks, but there's 8 players, so there's some overlap between decks.
But not commanders.
Not commanders. No one can have the same commanders, but you can have the same deck. Because then we don't have all these well-tuned decks that are like things we've seen before or cards that are very familiar. Restrictions breed creativity and also new experiences, right? So you get this cool dynamic with people that you know and on a consistent basis, which is always fun. The power level is more fair.
Yeah.
They're like swingier, which benefits players that are maybe new, and it flatlines a little bit, because if in a 4-player game of Magic cards, there might be someone who's objectively the best player at the table, but they might lose because the other 3 are like, oh, well, we're just going to eliminate that player right away so that we can play in the kiddie pool, which is totally fair, and sometimes more fun.
The precons all play so nicely together. I was blown away by some of the nice, even like nice little interactions that they had between decks, even just as they came out of the box, and how those have evolved as well.
It's different from when you just like buy a precon and gut it, and you're like, these cards suck, these 30 cards suck, I'm gonna put in like these 30 good cards. Like, I think there's a lot more thoughtfulness to the process when you get to kind of add in cards slowly and be like, oh, like what do I really want in here?
So one of the ways we decided to structure the league so that it wasn't just a like total winner take all thing.
Yeah.
And each game has 5 total points. There's a point for being the last person standing. There's a point per person, and then there's what we call the spice
Knocking
point.
out
Knocking
person,
yeah. A point for each elimination tree.
Yeah.
And then there's one that we call the spice point. which is, sweet plays. Phyresis on a Vile Smasher was tonight's one of tonight's Spice Point votes.
No, wasn't it? It was your Traxo, wasn't it?
That was the winning, but
yeah,
that was the winning
winner,
play.
yeah,
Yeah, but just to give you an idea of some of the things that we like to reward people for doing, like totally going back on your word and killing someone out of the blue. Spell twining is often good.
Vision.
That was that was an insane one. Cruel Entertainment is like a guaranteed spice point.
Yeah.
So we assign a fun point in addition to a point for actually killing people and or being the last person standing at the table. I picked Atraxa, mostly because it's the Witchmaw commander I've been looking for my entire life. It's good stuff. Yeah, it's good stuff plus a parasitic effect from a long ago block that I.
And incremental advantage.
Incremental
Other
advantage.
people don't care about.
Yes, yeah.
No one else cares about.
Except you.
And the funny thing that this made me do that I don't normally do is want to play creatures and move a bunch of +1/+1 counters around. I'm usually like a hard control or like fast combo player or like very big. So synergies involve creatures is not really my jam. So this kind of pulled me out of my comfort zone, which I really appreciate. If you look through the changes I've made to my deck, I've actually haven't made as many as I could have because I like keeping that theme going in the way that they designed the precon. So you have creatures with +1/+1 counters and move around and proliferate. So it's been a little breath of fresh air for me as a commander player because it's not the type of thing I normally do at all, but I'm having a lot of fun with it, which is credit to the designers at Wizards who put it together this way. I'm taking a couple dry runs with the deck that there are things in there that I thought were really bad that were actually really insane.
Freaking double striking card.
So that I certainly found out about, but it was more for me something as innocuous as the Cathar's Crusade.
You thought about taking that out?
You're drunk.
Yeah, you were drunk. That's not right.
I'm not drunk.
That's not
Or
right.
even the Forgotten Ancient or the Scale Lord, where you just load up the counters.
That's fair.
The synergy between them kind of really won me over. So I've made some changes to add a little bit of ramp and kind of upgrade my wraths a little bit. And yeah, I'm the guy who put in Deadeye Navigator, but the reason I put in Deadeye Navigator is for Coiling Oracle. That's the kind of incremental value player I am. I just want to blink my Coiling Oracle. So it's kind of like, if there's an attack, there could be a double striking event.
Yes, yeah.
Exactly.
Just say it.
Just
Let's
put it out
let's see which attacks happen. I'm gonna put this trigger from my enchantment on the stack, and let's just look around the table and see who blinks, see what says what. Yeah, see what happens. Out of the box is pretty damn good. I thought I wanted to change a crap ton about it, but I think I'm gonna try and stick with the theme. Just putting a bit more consistency.
Ended up with this pairing, which is the wheel deck. So I wanted to try and make it be almost like a true singleton vibe. So I've taken out a lot of the sweet wheeling cascading effects in the deck, and instead focused really hard on Vile Smasher the Fierce. And the last 2 weeks have been really exciting for me because I've decided to make it into an infect deck, which no one was expecting, because stuff like Phyresis and Glistening Oil on Vile Smasher means that all the damage that she does is poison. So she ends up being really interesting because people are like, wait, what happens? And you cast a Treasure Cruise or something, and you delve away a bunch of spells, or you use any of the Undaunted effects, which reduce the cost based off of how many opponents there are, and you just six somebody for poison right out of the gate.
Was the Leyline a new addition?
The Leyline
that was the
test. I added
Leyline
Leyline of Anticipation this week because it interacts really well with Vile Smasher, because then you can cast instant speed, you cast her at instant speed, and then on your turn you untap and cast some sort of big spell. Normally the weakness of her is that you have to cast her and then wait a full turn cycle, which in Commander is like a year.
Well, even
it's a full season.
It's it's first spell each turn, right?
Yeah, and so then I can cast on opponent's turns.
And if she's got Infect already, then you're just cast a Serum Vision, whatever, something small.
And the politics of it is fun because there's the populate decks and the proliferate decks that are running around, so I can plink people with a little bit of poison, and it kind of adds a bit of a game clock to a board state that otherwise might stall. I focused more on making a deck that works well with them by cutting a lot of the effects that people might have kept.
Are you going to cut Waste Not?
No.
Never
cutting Waste Not. That card is so sick. So I'm having a lot of fun with the deck. I like not having to get to choose what I play with. We get a little bit of changes week to week, but we're with the stock deck list, and we're not playing the most powerful tuned decks. A lot of players that we play with have pretty well-tuned decks.
Yeah, really good.
So it's nice to see cards that we're like, what? Oh, right, yeah, that card exists. We just never play it because why would we? But then in this circumstance, we get to see these like delightful moments that maybe we wouldn't have seen in other circumstances. So it's been a ton of fun.
So I think Saskia's my second choice, and she's good. I've been enjoying her. She's aggressive, a lot more aggressive than a lot of EDH decks are. Chad was speaking a little bit about kind of getting out of his comfort zone, getting away from the control decks. I haven't played a lot of hard control in Commander, but I do like decks that have a say in how the board state gets. And this deck's a little bit different than that. It just kind of...
You're the deck, you're the deck that makes people have responses.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, yeah, okay, have a response. Hopefully I've got Boros Charm or something to stop the Wrath, or the Rootborn defenses, populate. My things are indestructible, fine, I'm going to keep beating you. Aggressive creatures that spread the love. You're targeting one guy, so it plays a little differently in a league.
It also makes aggro viable.
Yeah, exactly. It makes aggro viable, and then it's interesting in a league setting where there's a leaderboard.
Yeah, because word's kind of gotten out that he can get out of the gates pretty fast.
Yeah.
So when someone starts to get, too defensive, like they're hiding behind a bunch of creatures, or they're hiding behind a ghostly prison and a bunch of tax effects, you just play Saskia and you name them, and you're like, I'll hit anyone else. And I've seen people say, I'll take the hit. If he dies, I'll take the hit. And someone takes 12 just to kill the guy who's like turtled up.
Yeah, so you're like a sleeper cell. Like the situation or issue with you is that, like, if we let you up even for a second. Have you ever fought a pit bull?
Never.
Okay, so when you're fighting a pit bull, the issue is you can't let it get into biting range.
Keep it back, right?
I've never fought a pit bull, but this just feels like an apt analogy. You're like that. I have to keep you out of biting range, because if you get close enough to bite, I die.
One of the issues with Saskia, and this is what we identified in the kind of post-mortem of the game, which we like to do too, just to like run back and see like how these things are interacting. The problem was that he had the Myriad Giant, and he ran it out there and like didn't kill the table, but made it really clear that plus Mari's Wake plus Saskia coming next turn meant he was probably going to kill the entire
it's like
table.
watching episodes of The Wire. It's like Saskia coming. It's like that's Saskia coming. Like no, get it, kill them now, because you just shoot them and then they can't kill you.
I've always been a huge fan of Saproings, and finally there's a deck that allows me to play Aura Mutation, Artifact Mutation. I can get other random Saproling effects in there. This deck definitely wins by attacking. Like, that's kind of it. There's a few corner cases, like there's that Treacherous Terrain card, which I think is probably one of the best design cards in this set, and just a sorcery that deals anywhere from 8 to 15 damage to all your opponents is great. Partner's been really, really interesting. The first thing that isn't really apparent, that like people kind of look at the cards and they're like, oh, it's kind of like each one's kind of underpowered on their own, but you start with a 9-card hand now. Also, you don't have to go all in on building on a commander as much anymore. You can build your deck to work with either of them. You can, as the situation arises, go, oh, Commander A is good here, Commander B is good here, and play them out like that. And just out of the box, I'm only playing with 2 of the ones that came in the same deck. I can't wait to finally, start mixing and matching. There's 105 combinations. I can't wait to, pair up something from one of the decks with something from another one of the decks and make a Wedge Commander, or make a Shard Commander, or make a 2-color deck with 2 of the ones that are the same colors. So I think it's really exciting to just have so many extra options thrown into the game.
We've been having a total blast with it so far.
Yeah.
And I like what the point structure does to games. Because Tristan, man, he totally had a target on his head. Because he was in the lead. He was 5 points, 3 more points than any other player.
People were not letting him do it this time.
Yeah, not this time.
We're just getting started.
Just warmed up.
It's going to be a long winter.
It's going to be good, yeah. There's 60-ish non-land cards in the deck. So you could probably completely remodel the deck. Like I could,
Totally new,
I
yeah.
could more. Well, except for the mythic requirement, I could turn this into Super Friends. Super Friends proliferate, whatever. But I don't think I'm going to. Just because of the point structure, there's a mathematic possibility that there'll come a week where someone's uncatchable,
Yes.
which is kind of sad.
that is possible.
But we will definitely do our best to keep
know.
keep beating down the leaders.
The only thing that I would like to do the next time we do this over this one is to make it a true singleton league where no one, no one can have a duplicate of a card. There's one Cyclonic Rift. No one else gets a Cyclonic Rift. There's one Solemn Simulacrum. No one else gets it. We're going to be doing it for 12 weeks or so, and by the end of it, I think the decks will be really unique and personalized. We'll be able to look at everyone's deck and say, oh yeah, Chad made that one. Taylor made that one. It's gonna be a really fun experience for all of us.
My only regret, and I mentioned this to you, we should have shopped it to everyone else. Like
Shop
when
it around,
we
yeah,
completed it, but the week before we did ours, we should have just said anyone else who wants what we've done, like the rules or the setup, go to town on it as well. Because it would have been cool to see everyone else doing the same sort of thing. Like if everyone was running different leagues, and then if we did like a final 4-person, final 4-person from all divisions, and then cross divisions, and then all that sort of stuff. It'd be so sweet.
All right, good kill.
Excellent kill. You took it like a champ.
Oh well. I was just only a little sprinkling of salt.
Want to see?
Oh, Salt Road Patrol. I need Salt Road Patrol.
And that's it for this episode. I hope you guys really liked our introduction video to the 12 Kings League here in Vancouver. We're trying to get additional or new interviews in the upcoming weeks in order to keep you updated. And if you have any questions or suggestions for future episodes, just let us know, write an email or write some comments down here in the comment section. And for all you viewers out there, a happy and successful year 2017.